Look, man.
Where?
Oh, I see.
Wow.
Oh, my. Bowen, look over there.
Wow, is that
culture? Yes.
my goodness.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah. Las Culturistas.
Ding dong, Las Culturistas calling. So today was Bowen's first ever tate experience, and that is the big headline of the day.
Huge headline. Famed bakery, shakshuka restaurant. They have more things than that. I had a delicious chicken salad sandwich with raisins. Get into it. I don't want to have this argument with anybody.
No.
Raisins belong in chicken salad.
And
Okay?
you know what else I basically described it to you correctly. It was like a Michelin pret-a-manger.
A Michelin pret-a-manger, and then we learned through someone that we were speaking to today that it is owned by Panera Bread.
Yes.
So it all goes back to Big Panera.
It all goes back to Big Bread.
Big
And
Bread.
that's actually real culture number 6. It all goes back to Big Bread.
Bread.
Also in Las Culture news, so the reason why we're in DC today is actually kind of a funny story. Several months ago, we sort of were reached out to with an opportunity that made us say, there's no way this is
There's no
real."
way. There's just no way.
It is real, and we find ourselves sitting with a pair of guests that, let's just say, to say that we are excited would be the understatement of the century to have them on Las Culturistas.
We were so fortunate enough to be on their podcast.
Had an amazing time.
IMO, Higher Ground. Get into that. That's the chicken salad of podcasts.
Truly.
Okay. There's raisins. I mean, we'll
And
look through
I
opinion on
said
raisins.
to our guests earlier, I did a breakfast hack. I was like, you know what you do? And so I didn't tell you this, Craig, but here's what you got to do. It's not just strawberries and Raisin Bran. It's also you cut up strawberries. I'm a culinary icon on this podcast.
let's go.
By the way, the snack of the summer is frozen grapes.
Frozen grapes.
Okay, so you got to cut up strawberries, and then get some bananas in there and raisins. Put it in your Honey Nut Cheerios.
Yeah.
Raisins and Honey Nut Cheerios. You're gonna love the way you look. I guarantee you.
It's still not that deep.
It is.
For more context, listen to our episode of IMO.
and that,
Matt, it sounds yummy.
Okay, so these voices that you're hearing.
They're legendary. They are the Euclid Avenue Robinsons,
Yes!
the iconic Chicago legends.
We're here with a college basketball icon as a player, a coach, and a broadcaster, and a best-selling author that is likely best known as the former First Lady of the United States of America. And this is just
Really special.
And they're podcasters now. So moving on up in the world, I'd say.
Yes.
Everyone, please, we are out of our minds to welcome Michelle Obama and Craig Robinson.
Woo, guys.
Gosh, fired up and
Yeah.
ready to go.
I mean,
Yes.
Put me in, coach.
Okay.
I'm ready to play.
Get in
you
there.
are the one to listen to when that gets
Oh
said.
my gosh.
So you're sort of been dragging me all day from my breakfast.
I mean,
know-how or
you
lack
know,
thereof.
you bring it up like it's some rocket science, and it's chopped up fruit in cereal.
Excuse me,
I
Miss
think that
Cheese
would be-
Bread.
Well, at least you have to cut the cheese and melt it.
You're
You're right. That is
right.
steps.
That's steps.
No,
for
Matt,
sure.
Matt, you do not have to acquiesce to her just because she used to be the former first lady.
You did do that pretty well. You know,
He was
it's
like,
I do
okay.
have that advantage.
No
Like, yes,
way.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I know. Well, earlier I was like, "Thank you so much, Mrs. Obama," and you said Michelle, and I was like,
I
"Oh,
did
okay."
say that.
I
yes.
know. Well, it's great to be on a first name basis,
We
y'all.
cannot have a real conversation if you're saying Mrs. Obama. That's too many
Correct.
syllables.
Are you pretty quick to like put down that shield for people? You're like, don't even worry about it.
You know, I was trying to do that when I was first lady.
Sure.
Because I just think, you know, it just sort of like I am not that position. I am Michelle.
Yes.
And when you're trying to connect with people, especially young people, you know, they need to keep the Mrs. because they're learning.
Sure.
But I'm always trying to break down that wall to say we're just all here.
Totally.
You know, and the first thing to do is like, let's drop that title. That's a little heavy.
Of course.
You know, that kind of changes the dynamic. So I'm Michelle.
Yeah.
You know what we call her?
What?
Your Highness.
I knew it. I knew it. The honorific.
You
for
need this
hassle.
person
You have to
in
be
your
in
life.
the. You have
And
to be
he
in the
must
family.
I
bow.
feel like you do need this person in your life that is like busting your chops a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, have you guys always been those people to each other?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
Absolutely.
we come from a family of chop
busters.
busters.
Chop
Yeah.
busters.
yeah. It's
It's
you-
we earned it. We earned it. Our
Sure.
dad, his brothers, our grandfather on my mom's side.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just chop busting all the time. And they started teasing at a young age.
Yeah.
So you and I always thought, oh, this is mean, until you realize, oh, in the real world, this happens all the time.
Of course.
Yeah.
You're building a nice armor to fight the fights when you get out in the
Totally.
streets.
Yeah.
I mean, you've talked about how growing up it was Michelle was known as Craig Robinson's younger sister, and then it flipped at some point.
It did.
When you were known as Michelle's older brother, and
I love that.
that is much easier. And like, describe it in the ways that is easier.
It's easier because, first of all, I was, whether my mom and dad said don't do it, don't worry about your sister, don't protect your sister, I did.
Yeah.
So I mean, everybody had to know that's my little sister. So if you're gonna run up on her, you got to come through me.
Yep.
Be nice.
Yep.
Act right. and anywhere I went, I brought her with until we got to an age where we couldn't do stuff. But it's always been that way, and it's much easier when I don't have to worry about that.
Sure.
Now she's the big star, and I can just enjoy the benefits.
Yeah.
the benefits are many. Yeah.
I
for
mean,
sure.
yeah, we both have sisters, and I feel like it almost makes me emotional to think of people like having an opinion or like be like
Oh yeah,
the idea that someone is, you know, accessed by the world in this way, like that has to be something to manage about each other. I'm sure about, you know, your family members, like when you become up for public debate and unable to participate in those discussions. I would imagine that that's something that you obviously learn to cope with, or do you ever really learn to cope with it?
You know, you do. You have to develop a thick skin, and I think some people are better at it than others. I think my husband has a very calm demeanor, and I think he was built for the job. I am a little more feisty, less so for myself, but more for him. You know, I get my back reared up when somebody goes after him and they don't appreciate his intellect and his sacrifice. Don't go after my kids. So I don't feel it for myself, but it is uncomfortable. Anytime my kids call me with some bad interaction they had with somebody on the street because of their last name, or them worrying about people thinking that they don't deserve the credit for the hard work that they do. You know, my mommy mode gets on.
Sure.
But I've had to practice being okay with it for the sake of them.
Yes.
Because I think that kids respond the way their parents respond, and all throughout the White House, my thing was, this is normal. You'll be fine. It's okay. Yes, there are men with guns on your school because your dad's here for parent-teacher conference, but keep going. It's not about you. You know, just trying to make sure that through all of this, they felt it normal. So I couldn't respond too much. I couldn't voice too much concern, because then they would start panicking. Right.
It's like when a toddler falls and you can't.
They look up to see if they're okay, and if you're like, oh my God, you break down. But if you're like, you're fine, get up.
But as a brother, I feel it when they get talked about.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because as a coach, you get talked about all the time.
Right.
Like when your team
He
plays
needed to
poorly,
do this. This play was whack.
That doesn't bother me at all.
Really? Right.
Because I know what I was doing was my best, and this game plan went this way, something went that way, anything. But with them, it's when people don't appreciate what they're doing, then I wouldn't say things publicly, but people ask me all the time, how do you handle it? And I tell them, I know deep in my heart that they're doing the best for the most people, and that usually gets people to sort of calm down and take that strategy with them when they go on, when they go about their work, because otherwise it would just drive you crazy.
Sure.
Of course. No, I used to be in the comments defending him. I'll throw hands for my sister.
I would never want you. That is. A fate worse than death for you to be fighting in the comments.
Get in there. It's like, Matt, come out.
I know.
Don't go in there.
I also just, when you were talking about going to the parent-teacher conference, I thought about being an elementary school teacher and knowing that the Obamas were coming in. What is that?
Oh, and it was a thing because the kids went to school down the street from where we're recording right now.
Right.
And our house is, well, we were in the White House. That
Right,
was
of course.
our house then. So it was a trip all the way up Mass Ave, right? And when you're in the presidential motorcade, it's a thing.
Yeah.
You know, if the president is moving, it's 12 motorcycle cars blocking off traffic. The street gets shut down. It's a 20-car motorcade, you know, which I say that includes an ambulance, a caboose, and a clown at the end.
Yes.
I mean, it just keeps going and going and going, and it never ends.
Batmobile at the end,
And all of that pulls up into the parking lot of a school.
Right.
And Ms. Apple is there.
And Miss
like,
Apple's
she's like,
getting
"Hi."
held down. It's like, Mom, that's Mrs. Charney that they're blocking. And it's like, I know, but this is how it goes.
And so Malia is excelling in math.
That's an A.
Right.
That's an A.
But here's the thing. Dad was going to parent-teacher conference. Right. It was like, you went before you were president. You went to every one of them. We are parents. We have to ignore this. This is how you get about the city, and this can't be the excuse for you not to participate as a father because you deserve that. He enjoyed that. He enjoyed those moments of normalcy.
Yeah.
Even if it came with a 20-car motorcade and helicopters and a CAT team on the roofs, which is counter-assault weapons, machine guns out.
Lovely.
Chill. I mean, total
Wow.
lockdown.
Yeah.
So that was. And thank you, Sidwell, for putting up with us.
Thanks,
for 8
Sidwell.
years.
I mean, great work.
Great work.
I always feel like, big moments in my life I can often associate with a song or a film or something. And obviously, you guys being in the public eye, I wanted to ask if there is a moment that the world knows and they identify in a certain way just from watching you guys, but you associate that moment with a specific song or something. Like, what was this song of like the inauguration day, or like is there a moment that you can think of that you can point to? No one knows I was listening to this or had watched that. You're nodding.
I'm nodding.
Do you have something?
Yeah, the first inauguration, we were all together in Chicago, and the story about when we found out that Barack was the president of the United States is a completely great story, but I'll save it for you next time.
Ooh.
We are all on the stage. I mean, it's our whole family, but our family's small, but we're all on the stage. Barack's family's on the stage.
Was this in Grant Park?
This was in Grant Park in Chicago.
I remember that night.
Outside.
And
remember
what
that
was the
night?
song?
Yes.
Of course.
Wasn't it We Are Family?
I don't remember.
That's what
I think
remember.
I was
That's your
numb.
pull.
I think I was
You might have been.
completely.
Sure.
No,
We
I was
should-
like,
we should find
did they
out if
have
I'm
a
right.
song?
We should find out if I'm right, because I remember We Are Family, and I don't know if it was in my head or if they were actually playing
Wow.
it.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you something. We're from Chicago. I've been in Grant Park
In November.
in all my life.
Yep.
When that inauguration was over, you could almost hear a pin drop, and people are walking away. They're just in this euphoric, quiet, calm state. They were so happy. And it was black people, white people, people from the north side, people from the south side, people from the west side, all together just walking back to wherever they were going, quietly, orderly, no police sirens. You could see flashes of light, but it was surreal, man, for a kid who grew up in Chicago.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was so peacefully silent that on the way to Grant Park in the presidential motorcade, the kids were in the back because, you're trying to tell them what's going on because they were little. They were, 7 and 10 or 6 and 9 at the time. So most of the time they're playing. We set it up so their cousins are there. They're playing games. Election nights were all about, we get chicken fingers and we get to stay up, right?
Yeah.
But you didn't realize they wouldn't understand what had happened.
Yeah.
So you'd win a primary, big celebration, and Malia would come back. Malia would say, "Is Dad president?" And
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh no! This is just South Carolina.
Yeah.
We got to do this like 12 more times." And she'd go, "Okay, go back and play." That night, she said at the end of it, "Is Dad president now?" And we said, "Yeah, this is it." So we're in the car on the way to Grant Park, and it's this deep silence. And we're all quiet in the car. The kids are in the back, and Malia says, Dad, I don't think anybody's coming to your party. Because no one was on the street. And it never, this was Lakeshore Drive, that it was always busy. And she was like, oh my God.
This is so embarrassing.
I mean,
after all this build-up in chicken fingers.
It's like, you might be, and we were like, oh, sweetie, no, this is what happens now that your dad is president.
Wow.
No one will ever be on the street when he's on the street again.
Wow.
But it's like, with little kids, you're like, how do you put these moments into context for them? They're just in the back seat going, what's next for us? Right?
Yeah, it's like watching someone realize their life is different.
That's
This
right.
is so weird. I'm remembering like we got a new dog one time, and then we opened our pool, and I was in the pool, and the dog came outside and saw me in the pool and froze, and it was like a new thing for the dog, and I was like, oh, I'm watching the dog have a formative core memory. I don't know why I made that pull, but like that is what I'm thinking.
It's so the same.
It's the same.
Just watching Malia be like, oh, we don't walk on streets with other people
right,
anymore.
Anymore.
Yeah.
Anymore.
Yeah.
But it's like what you're saying.
Like, what are you doing in that giant bathroom?
There's only a third of you showing. And I know that's not right.
Like, and someone should be panicking here. Should I dive in and get the
this
kid?
water.
Right.
What's all this? You can get in there?
bad.
I don't want to be in there. Never wanted to be in
I mean,
one.
you're talking about like going to parent-teacher conferences here, and like I gotta ask, like now that you are talking about, both of you guys are talking on the podcast about how the decision making is for yourselves now. Like I mean, I know Craig, you're still raising kids, but like Michelle, as someone who is like you've called yourself an empty nester, and like that is the thing that like I have no idea. I haven't even asked my parents about this because I'm just nervous about like what that was like for them. But now that you are like making decisions for yourself, does that change the rationale, like the framework of your decision making? Like you being in DC again without having to worry about parent-teacher conference, does that affect your sense of place? Like I was asking you before, where you spend most of your time throughout the year, and it's kind of in multiple places.
Yeah.
Like does that feel? How does that feel right now?
It feels great.
Good.
Yeah. I bet.
It does feel great, but it is it's a little off-putting, right? Because I realized for 50 plus years, or I was making decisions for other people.
Yes.
And that's kind of a buffer, I can always say, well, I'm doing this because my husband needs it. I'm doing this because my kids need it. So the consequences of those decisions, I could sort of subconsciously throw off on them.
Right.
I am now accountable for the outcomes of all of my choices. They're all mine now,
Yes,
right?
yes.
There's no one to blame if it doesn't go right. If there's backlash, if I don't attend a thing,
Right.
it's not, well, I did it because I had to.
No, it's my choice,
This was
standing
my
in
choice.
that.
I stand in it.
Yes.
So, and that's new
Right.
at 61 years old.
Yes.
But it is freeing. And it could only happen now that I know my girls are good. They are full adults. They're not completely independent, but they move through the world as independent, responsible people, right? They do not call us for everything. They figure stuff out and then talk to us afterwards to get our advice or reaction to what they already decided. I mean, there's just, as a parent, that's comforting.
Yes.
Yes, I miss them, but I can see them whenever. But that's what we raise them to be: independent people who can think on their own and live in the world and survive with or without us.
Right.
And that just gives me comfort. I sleep better at night, and I still sleep worse, even as adults, when they're under my roof.
Interesting.
Right? I mean, when they're here, I'm like, well, what time did you get in?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I don't, this is early, Mom. But it's like, but I know. I feel like you're under my roof, and I know I need to know where you're going. But I'm free of that, right?
Yes.
So it's good. It's really liberating.
Good.
We need to connect you with Kyle Richards
Okay.
because she needs to hear from you. She's having a hard time as a new empty nester. I don't know if you've been
Really?
watching
Wow.
Beverly Hills.
Okay.
See,
I have.
see, this is the part you said you were going to check out, but we have to take the opportunity to
Go
ask
ahead.
Michelle Obama about some Housewives opinions because
Yeah.
you've revealed you watch it all.
I do.
Yes.
Yeah, I watch it all. It's like my golf. I'd say that to Barack.
Right.
It's like TV you can tune in and out of, and you can watch it or not watch it and
Yep.
still catch up and go, oh yeah, they're arguing about that. Oh, it's like, remember that.
I find it soothing
It's soothing
sometimes to watch
sometimes.
them work through issues or not.
Exactly.
Do you have a favorite current housewife?
A favorite house. That's
Or
so
someone that you watch and you're
hard.
like, I'm rooting for that one even if it doesn't make sense all the time.
I didn't think about this.
There's a lot to choose
So there are a
from.
lot to choose from. Who am I rooting for right now?
All of your listeners probably watch it, so they know
Oh,
what they're
yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
Yes,
So-
yes, but we're happy to
And
to
these
fill
are,
you
this
in.
is the current season.
Okay.
They're
Yes.
in season right now. It's
Oh,
airing
okay.
now.
So and it's live.
no,
it's
Shot
not
like a few
not.
months ago, but
Yeah.
they cut it together.
Got
and
it.
put
That's
it
exactly.
out
They
later.
they tape them over a season, like last season, and it's airing now.
Got it.
So Atlanta is on. That's the thing about this stuff, which I would tell all the housewives.
Yeah.
It's like, learn. You know, just like all of us know. You know, you're at the middle of it, and then it can all be gone.
Right.
So what's the plan for when it's all gone?
Right.
You know, this moment that feels so good. We all, at some point in our lives, are formers. Right?
Yes, 100%.
Oh,
Yeah, I truly appreciate when I see a housewife hustling the products because A, I think it's funny, and B, I'm like, get your money.
Get it now.
bag.
Yeah.
And I hope you're saving it.
Yeah.
On the subject of formers, though, like I feel like what you two are very good at sort of embodying in your life stories is like the swerve, like the career change. Like I think this kind of ties back to like the decision making for yourself now that you're accountable to yourself now. It's like, does this echo anything about like of living in that zone between like marriage or parenthood and like right when you're out of college where you're like, okay, what do I do with myself now? Like that is something that I think I hope everyone goes through. I kind of trust someone a little bit more to know about themselves if they have had a moment of questioning like everything they've been taught to sort of move through life with.
I have always felt that our parents prepared us to do anything. They always encouraged us to do anything you feel like you want to do. And the hard part for me was figuring out what that was. And, early on, professional sports wasn't the way it is now. Like very few people aspired to be a professional athlete. You just didn't think you could do it because you saw very few role models that were other than the people who were way up there like Ernie Banks and Gail Sayers. Those were the people we saw growing up. So
Bowen is like,
Chicago Bears
I'm with you.
and the Chicago Cubs.
Okay, great.
Well, I'll tell you something. We were going to nod so hard. We were like,
You guys don't have to
Michelle
do that.
clocked us.
You can do that for her, but you don't have to do it
Yes,
to me.
we're gonna do it for
listen,
you.
I told you my dad's a coach 40 years.
That's what I figured
Close
you
to
would
home.
you would get the Gail Sayers part.
I actually know that name.
Yeah. So I was just playing basketball, and I didn't know that I was gonna get a chance to be a professional basketball player. But it wasn't what I was shooting for. So we were always taught just try things until you figure out
Right.
what it is you like to do. And that's what I did. And I felt very comfortable doing it because I had the support of my family.
Yes.
And I never felt like I had to be a doctor, I had to be a lawyer, I had to be a basketball player. And then that way I was able to try finance and try consulting and then try coaching and realize that I loved coaching and teaching. And I think the only thing that I thought I really wanted to do was be a teacher. I thought I was going to teach 7th grade and coach high school basketball.
Right. Yeah.
That was my I should say I started out wanting to be a race car driver.
and then it kept growing.
I was publicly
Can't fit in there.
I was publicly shamed by my 2nd grade teacher, who I absolutely loved, and she was like, "With all those brains, what do you want to be a race car driver for?" And so that was the end of that, and then I got too tall to get in the car.
Right.
But I thought I'd be a teacher. because I had so many good role models.
Yeah.
My parents, I had coaches, I had good teachers coming up. So I was thinking that would be something that would be worthwhile doing.
Well, you've really opened up a door here to the central question of our podcast, and so I feel like we'll just ask you. We'll start with you, Craig, which is, what was the culture that made you say culture was for you? This is that sort of formative, influential moment in your life where something you were exposed to, whether it was pop culturally or culturally in general, that made Craig become Craig.
So I'm going to give you the answer because I know this answer. I'm prepared for this, but I want to tell you, I always make note of questions I haven't been asked, because when you get interviewed all the time and you listen to podcasts, you hear all these great questions. It's always so exciting when somebody asks a question you haven't heard before. And I only know your question because of your show, but
That's
I've
a nice
never been
compliment.
asked.
Thank
Very
you.
nice.
So I'm really excited about this. And I know there were two opportunities here. So
Yeah.
when I was in high school, I worked at Soldier Field, which is the arena where the Chicago Bears play.
Yep.
They used to have great concerts there, and we couldn't afford tickets to concerts, so we never went to a live concert. So my first live concert I worked at. During the series of concerts, Parliament Funkadelic
Let's go.
landing the mothership on the stage.
Come on, production value.
Make my
Production
funk
and,
the P-funk.
and the
Let's
music
go.
and the music on top of the production. But the best part, guys, seeing them dudes come in off the bus,
Yeah.
I was like, they cool as shit.
Yeah.
Rock star lifestyle.
They cool as shit.
It didn't demystify anything. It actually mystified it.
Oh,
more.
I was like, I should have stayed playing the piano.
Oh, wow.
Because you were feeling like a groupie.
I was like, holy cow! I could be up there wearing the stack shoes and the star glasses, playing
that
the
funny?
bass, playing the keyboard. It was so. And so that was when I was like, okay, there's something to be. There's culture out here. There's
Yes.
something to be being cool. And then the next jump ahead to one of my freshman year in college was the first year that rap was going widespread.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rapper's Delight.
Of course.
You know that song?
Of course.
Hip hop, hip to the hip to the hip hop. You don't stop the rock to the
You know who's
bang.
hooked on this? My mother.
Okay.
She used to do it when I was in elementary school, and I was like, my mom has bars. I didn't have that phrase for it at the time, but I thought it.
thought that
Like,
Katrina had
how'd you
bars.
come up with that, Mom?
I didn't know my mom had bars.
Rapper's Delight. What year was that?
So that was I graduated high school in 79.
79?
So it was 1980 was the year. 79, 80 was the year I was my freshman year in college.
Yep.
You're the same age as my mom. She graduated in 1980. Yeah, I believe as well.
Okay, Matt, we feel old.
No.
We are old, but we are
Yeah, my
embracing
mom.
this age.
That's my mom's
Please,
culture.
my
No,
mom is a
just-
superstar. Ageless.
Ageless beauty.
But yeah, no, so a lot of music. And isn't it funny,
lot of
like
music.
when you're young and a kid, like it's so uncool to be doing music or playing the band or do orchestra,
Yeah.
and then now who is cooler than musicians,
Yes. That's
rock
right.
stars,
That's
pop
right.
stars?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, so we're trying to keep our 15 and 13-year-old. They're still playing their music.
Yep.
And if they can just hang on and
Yeah.
keep doing it. Even
Maybe
if
they'll be stepping off the
but-
mothership.
Yes.
they don't even need to step off the mothership, but if they ever wanted to, they won't be so far behind where they could only be the guy playing the castanets or
cymbals.
something.
The
cymbal.
triangle.
Yeah, the triangle.
Hey, there's a place for that in a
There is.
in a
Yeah.
band in some kind of
Yes,
setup.
You're right.
Gosh, if I could take a time machine back to like a stadium funk concert,
Oh man.
like I guess like what's the closest thing we have to that? I don't know. It's like
I guess
What,
maybe.
we have Beyonce.
With Beyonce's doing funky
we have,
stuff.
we have,
Talking about,
I mean,
like-
yeah, Beyonce will give you every genre, but like in terms of like real, like what you're talking
Oh,
about,
like
yeah,
like a band.
like a
like a
the-
band.
I
like a
guess you know
funky-
who is huge, and there's like it's not my culture at all, but whose people really live for is Grateful Dead.
Grateful Dead.
Sure,
And
sure.
let me tell you, it's also Bruce Springsteen,
Yes.
a dear friend of mine. I was at his concert in Barcelona, and
yeah.
you know, he's got E Street Band. It is music. It's a band.
Yes.
You know, it's like it's the drummer, it's the horn section, it's all of it. And they were playing jazz, and they flipped into, New Orleans, They did it all in addition to rock. But this is, let's make a PSA for music and education in public schools.
Very passionate about that.
PSA.
Right?
Yes.
Because this is, all talent doesn't come from the rich, right?
No.
Talent is born. And if there's no place for kids to access a trumpet or a set of drums, they don't get to cultivate that talent, right?
Yeah.
That's why I love Broadway.
Yes.
Broadway to me is like where the real, I don't want to insult anybody, but it's like,
come on.
It's where the real talent lies. I mean,
Yeah.
you go to these shows and it's like everybody's a freaking star.
Yes.
It's like you should have a concert.
Yeah.
The guy who's playing the backup to the, you should have a,
like
a
that's
gold
the
album.
understudy.
That's
Right.
the understudy.
Shredding? Yeah.
It's just, that's why I love Broadway, because it's the place where real talent can come, and the fact that they do it day in and day out with the same level of energy, no lines, no, they are flying without a net
No, truly.
every night, and it's just phenomenal to watch. So I don't know. Did I digress a bit?
No. I was just.
that was perfect
I was going to
tie-in.
say before we ask you your response to the culture question, I have two questions for you. One, are you going to get a chance to, or have you already seen Cowboy Carter tour?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the sojourn of me and my daughters and
Yes.
I. And Beyonce's my girl, first
Yeah.
of all. I mean, that's my girl. I
Yeah.
got her back. So the girls and I have gone to every concert that she's had. So we did Cowboy Carter in we were in New York. We did the New York
The rainy
concert.
shows.
Were you at the rain
The
show?
rainy show.
I was at the rain show.
Were
too.
you in the rain?
Yes, I was in the rain.
not.
Oh, yeah, well, that's one of the perks.
Were you in the rain?
I was,
I was
Michelle.
not.
She would think she would be sympathetic, but no, she was
No,
just
no.
letting you know.
No,
But it rained.
I was dry.
She could flex. now.
But
She could
it
flex.
rained the entire concert. I mean,
Yeah.
it poured
Yeah.
for the entire concert, and none of
Nobody
them missed
left.
a beat.
You're talking about-
They didn't miss a beat.
No,
a
you're-
dancer. There may have been a slippage once.
Maybe.
But they made it look like it was. The
No.
stage was just a puddle, and she was stomping. She just performed wet and beautiful.
Unbelievable.
2 hours,
She
45
looks.
minutes.
I mean, she looks better than ever. Sounds better than ever. Are you? This probably was my favorite moment of the whole thing, was when Blue Ivy stomps out, galvanized with the towel, wiped down the stage through
yes.
it, and then shredded. I was like,
yeah, and that's of her own making. Beyonce was like, I looked down in one performance in the rain, and there's Blue cleaning
Yeah.
the stage.
Yeah.
And she's like,
She's like,
girl,
I'm not
what are you
slipping.
doing? She's like, I'm doing my solo.
Yep.
And somebody's getting this ready for me.
and because
She
you want to
is
know what,
something.
like, she also knows that everyone's watching TikTok every night, looking at every single movement.
That's
Like,
right.
probably the most scrutinized performer in the world
That's
right
right,
now is
is
Blue
Blue
Ivy
Ivy.
Carter, because everyone is watching every second of it to see, like, is she as good as Beyonce?
Yes.
Like, it's this unfair
that's not
expectation.
fair at
Well,
all.
she's baby good. She's in middle school.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, people.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like
she
layoff.
is like a worker horse, and that's what she's learning. That's what her parents are demanding of her. It's like, okay, if you say you want to do this, then you got to do it, and you got to perfect your craft. Yes, I was there and loving it dry.
Yes. We're gonna have another chance. We're gonna go in Paris next week.
I was thinking about trying to go and get a dry show in so I could go down on stage, but I just don't know. if
You
I
let
can
us know,
manage it.
and we'll find.
See you in
all
Paris.
find a dry
See
spot.
you guys there.
Yeah.
But the last thing before we ask you the culture question was, I need to know specifically O'Mary.
Yes.
What is Michelle Obama's experience at O'Mary?
Because we
Okay.
imagine that everyone's kind of turning to you to see how you're responding
Well,
to this specific play.
A lot of times I sneak in afterwards, so I don't think that people knew I was there, because
Great.
I come in at dark and slip it on the side and just sit.
Yep.
And I didn't know fully what O'Mary was, right? So I went
Perfect.
with a friend, and it was a recommendation. They said it's a play, and I didn't do the research, which I usually do, so I wasn't sure what was going on, right?
Yeah.
And then scene one. And I am cracking up.
Yes.
But feeling like, oh my God, if people see me laughing, it's going to be on page 6 and somebody would. But I loved it. So happy for the Tony win.
Yes.
I mean, out of your mind. It's like, this is what you think. Who thought of this?
Yep.
What's going on inside that head?
That evil genius.
That thought of the retelling of history.
Yes.
In this very interesting but powerful way.
Yes.
I loved it.
Yeah,
Loved it.
Yeah, and
Loved
also
it.
when you get to know Cole and you really realize that so much of their actual personal experience is in that show,
Yeah,
even if
yeah.
you don't know like the things that they've struggled with
Yeah,
and what they've
yeah.
wanted and the kind of resistance they've been met with, like
Yeah.
is all in there, and that I think makes it,
In the bones of Mary Todd Lincoln.
In
Right.
the bones of Mary Todd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so.
Yeah.
I'm happy to know that you had an amazing
Yeah.
time.
Had a great time.
Gotta know, Michelle Obama, the culture that made you say culture was for you.
Now that we're talking, it is music. It's still music. And it's interesting that so much of that cultural moment for us was music. And for me, it was a musical show. Soul Train,
Yes.
right? It was the competitor to American Bandstand.
Yes.
The music dance show that was on in the late 60s and
Yep.
70s, Don Cornelius, the Soul Train, right?
The dancing down the I guess like
And
the,
the Soul
original
Train line,
Yes.
Yes.
which is now done at every wedding reception
course.
party.
All the fun
it
ones.
originates, for those of you who don't know, that came from Soul Train. But to see every week, all these cool young black kids doing all the latest dances,
Yeah.
wearing all the latest 70s fashion, the bell bottoms, the big afros, and the top it off with some huge musical guests, the latest in R&B, performing in your living room on television Saturday mornings, because that's when it came on.
Yes.
And we'd all get up and you try to do the dances and you'd create your own Soul Train line. I mean, that's, for me, I love to dance. I love music. I love Broadway. If I had any ounce of talent, I think that's what God saved the world, because if I could sing a note, if I could dance a dance, I'd be up every minute. Just like, oh, would you like me to sing for you? I would be singing for everyone. It's like these talented people who are embarrassed and they don't sing. It's like, no, I can't. It's like, if that was me, I'd
not
be
be
She's
singing
downplaying.
and
She's
dancing.
really talented.
I'm sure.
I bet
She's
you
really
are.
talented.
I don't think. I think I'm regular.
I think
dance
she
with-
could have been really talented. She's just a perfectionist, so she would have never thought it was right.
I hear that.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's you chalk yourself out of things because it's not going to be perfect, but then all of a sudden the world has been, robbed of its
Yeah.
Michelle Obama
that's right.
Emmy performance.
Exactly.
That's correct.
But back to Soul Train.
But back to Soul Train. Questlove used to do this night at Brooklyn Bowl where he would do like a Soul Train
Yeah.
night, and they would
Yeah.
play clips, and it was like me, like fully as an adult, sort of digesting this for the first. I was like, I always knew about Soul Train, but then just like actually watching the footage and the clips, it is just this mesmerizing thing where everyone. I mean, talk about like being like that person deserves their own show and
That's
concert.
exactly right.
Every single frame, you're like,
Yeah.
that's the most beautiful group of people.
Right.
Dressed
The
so
women were
beautifully.
gorgeous. They, their movements were unique. They introduced new dances.
And it was-
culture was created
In that room.
in that room.
It was the first video music show that
Yes.
we
Right.
experienced. There
Yeah.
were no music videos back then.
The visuals.
The visual,
Where
I
you
mean,
could see the artist performing, even though they were lip syncing,
Right.
right?
Right,
Because they,
right.
they lip
But-
sync to a track.
But
But
unless they were on like the Flip Wilson show or something,
Ed
Carol
Sullivan
Burnett,
show, a
Ed
variety
Sullivan,
show.
variety
Yes,
show,
that's
you
right.
didn't
Wouldn't
see people
performing.
performing live music on television. Soul
Yeah,
Train was
yeah.
it for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were your parents also tuning in, or was this?
Oh
like,
yeah, it was
yeah.
family viewing. If my dad
Family
was home,
dancing.
it was we had one TV, so we
Right.
lived in the age where you watched what was on TV,
Yeah.
and we got control of the TV during
On
the Soul
Saturday.
Train hour.
Yes.
And everyone, and we all got up, tried the dances out. You'd go outside after Soul Train and talk about what you saw with your friends and try to recreate the moves. And, it was the fashion was, off the chain. It was where a lot of fashion culture began and ended. You see the inspiration in current fashion today, even the colors, the color blocking. amazing, and it made me sort of want to be older and cooler. I was curious about who these people were and how you set these tones, and where you found the courage to be that creative. And then the other moment for me was when I bought and was given, because I bought it and was given my first album. I was given it by my maternal grandfather, who we called Southside, who was a record aficionado. He had a huge album collection, didn't have a lot of money, but he had 2 turntables, a reel-to-reel. I mean, he literally had his house wired for sound, speakers in every room, but he was a jazz aficionado. Had a huge jazz collection that I think we're now donating to the OPC.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, so the OPC will be able to preserve it. I hope that's in the works.
Yeah, 2-bedroom house with 25 speakers
in the bathroom, in everybody's bedroom. We grew up with music playing 24/7. There wasn't a time that when he woke up, the music went on. And you had to learn how to take care of the album, right? If you used it, you had to clean it, you had to hold it at the edges. You couldn't
set
stack
the needle
them.
right.
You didn't put the needle in the middle of the album. You had to start it at the beginning because you could scratch the record. I mean, there was a culture to that. He gave me, it was one of my birthdays, he gave me Stevie Wonder's Talking Book. Talking Book.
Wow.
Songs in the Key of Life.
I knew you were going to say Stevie Wonder for some reason.
Yeah, well, I think I talk about Stevie Wonder. He was also, he
the
was
greatest.
the key to my culture.
Yeah.
Because he was the first musician, and we did this beautiful podcast on Stevie through Higher Ground, The Wonder of Stevie, and I recommend it because it is a fascinating look at why Stevie Wonder is a musical genius. It covers his 5 albums. No one has produced that quality and amount of record and of music production in such a short period of time. Questlove was the producer with that, co-produced it with us. So I learned even more about Stevie. But Talking Book, that album, that led with You Are the Sunshine of My Life. It was one of his first or second independent albums that, when he was in charge of his career, wrote and produced everything. So it was his sound. It wasn't Motown. Nobody was controlling him. And it was a cultural experience for me as a 10-year-old. Because it was also one of the first albums that came with the lyrics on the jacket, right? Yes. And I would spend hours immersed in his music, in the lyrics. There was opera in it, there was jazz, there was sex, there was love, there was political statements being made. A song entitled Big Brother, your name is Big Brother, you say you're watching me on the telly, seeing me go nowhere. I mean, lyrics,
stuff
like I was reading and going, he is telling us something here. And it was the first the first album where it wasn't just about the music, but it was about the message. So, that album was one of those cultural experiences that took me to the next layer. It wasn't just fashion. It wasn't just the moves. It was like
art.
It was art. Yeah.
I mean, at what point from getting the album to understanding what all of the messaging might have meant and all this context about it being an independent production and that there was, not influenced by Motown necessarily. Like when does that knowledge come through you?
Oh, I didn't know that when I was 10.
Of course,
I've learned that over the course of a lifetime of following Stevie, right?
That just deepens your love for the album.
Yeah, exactly, right. Which is why this podcast will take you to different places with him. But even without all that information at 10 years old, that album moved me to a place that I didn't know you could go with music and art. So it was, and still resonates. I mean, I still have that album on my playlist. It's part of the soundtrack.
Evergreen.
It's my soundtrack.
Yes.
It's my, Stevie is the music that gets me going right before I'm about to give a speech. When I'm on the way in a car to do something hard, there is some kind of song that Stevie has made that will get me to that place.
It's impossible to pick a favorite. I'm literally sitting here being like, is it If You Really Love Me? Is it Lately? Is it All's Fair?
Is it
Superstitious?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He is the greatest.
Yeah, the breath.
Before we do I Don't Think So, Honey, I wanted to ask if you remembered something. So this actually came to me like it was like one of those memories the other day. Years ago, it was 2016, you were on Jimmy Fallon's show.
Yeah.
And people were doing the thing where they were speaking to the portrait of you, and then you came out.
Oh, yeah.
So there was a guy named Henry who went last, and he was speaking to you, and you came out, and you had this moment together. That was my boyfriend at the time.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
and
She's
I'll
a
just
sweetie.
Oh, wow.
that was such a tough time, obviously.
wow,
I would imagine
yeah.
for everybody involved. And I remember just like he is and remains he's a dear friend of ours still to this day. And he was the sweetest person ever. And I just remember watching you guys have that moment. Like it was just such an emotional memory for me to have the other day.
Yeah.
And just do you remember that happening?
I absolutely
Yeah.
remember that. I mean, look, one of the greatest gifts that I had being First Lady was being able to interact with people who felt impacted by anything that we had done, right? Because we're living in like an ivy tower with security guards, and it's the rare personal interaction where you could be with someone outside of a photo line and just experience them in that way meant as much to me as it did to him. And so, I remember it all. What a small world.
It was
Yeah.
such a lift. And it
Wow.
remains a lift as a memory for me, and I know for him, so I just wanted to shout out Henry and say,
Yeah. Oh,
that's
wow.
she remembers.
I remember.
Very, very
But I had
Like now I'm craving to see that clip again.
Oh yeah,
I used to love going on the talk shows and doing those stunts and bits with Jimmy and others. They, it was like they would just play, right? It's like she's game for anything. And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty much game for anything. But we would have some of the best interactions messing with the public.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
I'm looking back and I'm thinking nowadays they would never get away with that, because it's like if you go in there, it's like, oh, you're gonna talk to this portrait of Michelle Obama. I think everyone will be like, well, is she behind that big
Right,
curtain?
it's like
At the time, I was like, Henry, what do you mean you were shocked? And he really was. I was like, maybe this was at the time where we weren't doing as many viral tricks.
We were not.
We were not
It was
pranking
the
people
beginning
on
of it, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I just had to bring that up.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Well,
but-
give him my
Well,
love.
thank you for that, and I will. But okay, so it's time for I Don't Think So, Honey Bo.
Yes, this is our segment where we take 1 minute to really
This segment.
rail against something in culture. Yes, we love segments. What a staple of the pod. We both have something, so we'll go first, and then we'll go
Okay.
Craig and Michelle.
Yeah,
You
let's
guys
do
are
it
so
round robin
good.
style.
It's like-
We'll see if we're good. Then I've decided to take a risk today with mine.
I'm taking
Okay.
mine too. Mine might alienate some folks.
Okay.
Just, I'm keeping an eye on everybody out there.
All right.
See, mine's gonna alienate no
Oh,
one,
look.
but people are gonna be like, no, don't. No one has to be concerned. But yeah, let's go for it.
Let's go
Okay.
for it. Okay,
Okay. All right.
this is Matt Rogers. I Don't Think So, Honey. His time starts now.
I don't think so, honey. Lack of didgeridoo in popular music. The didgeridoo is the instrument of Australia, and I don't understand why we're not utilizing it. Lady Gaga, I'm looking at you. If there's gonna be a pop star that brings the didgeridoo into complete pop culture dominance, it's gonna be you, Gaga. It's the one thing missing from Mayhem, which is perfect otherwise. Bowen Yang, I don't think so, honey. You're about to believe his didgeridoo impression. Do it. Come on, that sound is amazing. Don't you want that over a beat? Don't you want
30
that to throw
seconds.
ass to at the club? I do. I feel like let's move. I feel like let's get the didgeridoo out here. Let's get someone who can play the didgeridoo, because you know they're not making money because you're not booking them enough.
15 seconds.
We need to take it out of Australia and bring it international. The didgeridoo is global. I want the didgeridoo. Lady Gaga, I'm calling you out. Sabrina Carpenter, I'm calling you out.
5 seconds.
Beyonce, we're all going to your Parisian concert together. Bring out the didgeridoo. Beyonce knows Carter.
That's 1 minute.
Oh my
A triumph.
goodness.
We are worthy.
Wow, I
We
had
are
more
not
juice.
worthy.
I had more
Oh my
juice than I
gosh.
thought for it.
You were a pitcher.
Oh.
You were a pitcher full of juice.
I have yours if you haven't thought of it.
Oh,
Okay, let's have them
sometimes-
deliberate.
Sometimes you do know more.
Oh, yeah.
Because sometimes I'm coming in here and I'm like, what pisses me off? And then you find
I
out.
can assign you one pretty easily,
man.
pretty readily. We should try that
We
sometime.
should do
soon.
that one time. Like right as we're about to hit play, you tell me what mine is, and I go, oh,
I like that idea. Thank you for inspiring a paradigm shift.
Although
for
he
us.
can't do it. It's like, this is the thing. Who can do a minute on
whole
anything
minute
other
on
than you
anything.
two?
Let me tell you something. We went down to Epic Universe in Orlando for there's an opening of the new theme park in Universal, and they had us do one in the 97-degree heat, 70% humidity. I think we almost died.
We almost died.
My God.
I think we almost lost our life 45
my
seconds
gosh.
into. I don't think so, honey.
You know,
By the Constellation Carousel.
don't
Sure.
you have human resources on your show? Someone should
You know what?
intervene.
This actually is a huge
Liability.
issue.
Yes.
I don't think so, honey. It's a liability.
It's like, where are the union rules?
That's exactly right.
Get the medic out.
We need a podcasting union.
We do.
Well,
Why not?
Thought starter. Okay, so
I'm ready to alienate. I'm
Okay.
ready. You know.
Okay.
and Bowen has when he really rips these up, they have impact.
I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, wow.
This is Bowen Yang's I Don't Think So, Honey. His time starts now.
I don't think so, honey. Why is pet food looking delicious in commercials?
Period.
I'm watching the Tonys and there's a Fancy Feast Gems commercial where they put that shit on a plate.
It really did.
The cat's not eating it out of a plate and then they garnish it with rosemary.
Yes, they did.
Why are you making it presentable for human consumption? Because I'm sitting at home going, well, my mouth is watering. I'm going to eat this. And then I read an article in The Atlantic about how the gourmet dog food market is exploding.
30 seconds.
Jose Andres, a Michelin chef, is making food for dogs. It's like it's really getting out of control. Your dog doesn't know the difference between kibble and the fresh medallions of salmon that are being advertised on these packages
15
now.
seconds.
Your dog deserves the best. Absolutely. Every pet deserves gourmet food. Everybody deserves gourmet food. But don't make human beings want to eat it because I don't think so, honey. Me thinking, well, maybe I will try some whiskers or some pedigree.
And that's 1 minute.
Oh my god!
I saw some cat food the other day that looked like it should win a James Beard Award.
Yes!
It is.
I was like, this is not okay. And also, they know what they're doing because it's on at late at night when the housewives are on, when people
I
at
am
home are
sweating.
a little
I
legal in
am
America.
That's
Sweating.
too good, Bob.
Oh my God.
Have you seen the commercial where the guy kicks the girl out
Well,
of
they
his
do,
house?
right? Because
What's this commercial?
For the fresh dog food
that you keep in the refrigerator.
She said, "Well, it's just
she's
dog
like,
food."
"It's dog. You keep your dog food in the refrigerator." I mean, and then he kicks her out of the date, and he's left eating
and he
dinner
and
with
the
the
dog are
dog.
having the dinner.
It's like, I didn't like her
What is
anyway.
that
You haven't seen
messaging?
that? Yeah, that was part of your.
He
It's
brought it up because
intentional.
we were together. Was it during the Tonys?
It was
that
during
this
the
happened?
Tonys.
Okay, so it's during the Tonys, and he pointed it out, and I was like, oh my god, I
It
am
does look
hungrier
good.
as a
Right.
result of watching the cat food commercial.
It's like they garnish it with rosemary.
Rosemary.
It's like,
Literally.
what are we doing?
Yeah.
You were-
I don't. But you know what it is? It's because we're the ones buying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we buy
it's gotta look
what
delicious.
they.
Gotta look good
you
to
I want
us.
my
know.
cat
Look,
to have that.
my dog eats her poop.
There
So-
you go.
right.
If it's
Sure.
good enough.
They
He doesn't
really
care.
do that. I watched it happen when I was a kid. I was like,
She
now that's
stopped.
wrong.
You know, but Barack still won't let her sit on the sofa. She eats her poop, and it's like she doesn't do it anymore.
Here.
Cats know something that dogs don't, and that's rule culture number 90. Cats know something that dogs don't.
Yeah.
They're just, it's just true. They know how to work people in a way
They
that dogs
do.
don't.
They do.
It is, and also they're persistent. Nevertheless,
They're
Nevertheless.
demanding. They're not persistent. They're insistent.
yeah,
There you
you're
go.
right.
They're cat people.
We're cat people.
Yes.
We've had 2 cats. We just lost our last cat.
I mean, their
month ago.
cats
so
live
sorry.
forever.
To
This
18.
cat
We
was
had
like,
one live to
Wow, such a good
21.
life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Missy, icon.
Oh.
Yeah,
Missy.
we're cat folks.
Yeah.
May they
Well,
rest in peace.
You know
May
what's
they
funny is like I think I am a dog as a person, but I would get a cat. I think he
I'm
is a cat as a person, and he wants a dog.
so badly.
Like that's just isn't that funny how that is?
Ew.
Another thought starter. Who knew?
You too.
Okay, who wants to go first?
Oh my
Should I go
gosh.
first?
Okay, you do it.
So are you
Alright.
gonna do the one that Michelle suggested?
No, and we'll tell you what that is after because I can't do a whole minute on it.
Okay.
Can
All
you
right.
do a whole minute on
I-
anything?
I-
Okay,
I
here we
can't-
go.
I can
I-
try
I
and do a
guarantee
minute
You
on
want
it.
some
yourself.
water? You want some water?
Yeah.
Let me
Even
not
though
the
it's
straw.
Hydrate.
okay,
Yeah.
He doesn't like the
Get
metal
revved
straw.
up.
This is gonna. Oh, you
All
don't
right,
like
you
the
ready?
straw?
The metal straw,
'cause
metal on
guess
my
what?
It's
teeth.
almost
He
like
doesn't
I don't
like
think
the-
so, honey.
That's
he
yeah,
doesn't
I don't
like
think
the
so,
metal.
honey.
Yeah.
This
All
is
right.
Craig Robinson's I Don't Think So, Honey. His time starts now.
I don't think so, honey, and I'm talking about balloons. Balloons
Get 'em.
are for birthday parties and baby showers. They are not to ride in.
Get him.
Let me tell you why. First and foremost, You can die 3 different ways in a balloon.
Tell us.
You can go straight up so far that you lose oxygen and die.
Horrible.
The second thing is that you could go straight down to your point and fall out. But the third thing is you can burn up in a balloon.
People don't talk about that.
People do not talk
They don't talk
about
about
how
that.
you can burn up. And who are these people who are getting in balloon chariots?
No.
and riding
And
around?
Glinda in the
Because
movie.
you cannot
Terrible.
you cannot control where you're gonna land.
No.
They got these trucks to follow you along. You could land in the ocean if you're not right.
Oh,
I
man.
can't take it. I don't think so, honey.
And that's 1 minute.
Oh, that
See,
was
you had it in you
excellent.
all along.
I think I'm gonna have a heart attack.
Oh my
And
God.
here I was thinking.
Oh my
You said I don't
God.
think so many balloons, and I'm like, well, there's so much to say about how loud they pop,
Right,
the
but
stress
he
of
goes-
blowing them up. But
he
said
goes hot air
specifically
balloon.
hot air balloon travel, and how ridiculous it is because you're right, and you should say it, and you did.
These people are getting up at the ass crack of dawn to meet up in a big field
what?
to get in a wicker basket.
wanna
to
see a mountain? Look at a picture
And
of it.
guys, wait. Let's just say you avoid those 3 ways of dying,
Yes.
and you come down the land, and the thing turns over, and you get suffocated.
And you get something. And now, by the way, now you're back on land, and that's lethal.
By the way, what do they tell your parents? Oh, sorry, he died, and it was like an idiot. Because he went up in a hot air balloon and didn't need to be doing all that. So my mom is going to pick up the phone and say, oh, he died being extra? Great.
Well, yeah.
Under a
Great.
Serves you
big
right.
Yes, serves you right. Under a big Snoopy head.
Like, give me a break.
Give me a
Oh my
break.
God.
And I get so nervous when I see them holding the big balloon parade. You know what I'm
God.
saying?
Yes.
Because they have to hold
Collisions.
it at the bottom,
Yes.
and this is, and I know it hasn't gone perfectly well every time.
No, certainly not.
They'll lose control of those things.
Absolutely.
Now we're getting serious.
No,
Now
that's
we're-
thought starters.
Right. It's just like
That's the title of
it's
that,
like,
thought
now we're
starters.
getting serious. It's,
Okay.
you were concerned, Matt.
No, this
It's
is
just like this is not good.
This gives me anguish. I didn't know I felt this
feel it.
strongly.
Yes.
This is why I don't think so honey is a powerful tool for
Yes.
conversation.
Yes, this is great.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's cathartic.
But you know what you wanted me to do it on?
What?
I think
Ventriloquist.
the world is missing out on ventriloquists.
You think there should
we
be
need
more?
more?
There should be more.
I don't disagree.
Just like the didgeridoo.
Just like the didgeridoo.
I don't
Okay,
disagree with you.
You know what? Because it is extremely difficult talent.
It is and those who can do it are really good.
Yeah. Have you ever tried?
Of course I tried.
Well,
How'd it go?
Poorly.
Well, it's not good enough for my parents to get me a ventriloquist dummy. I had to
Right.
use one of her dolls.
okay.
Yeah.
So do you have it? You can't do it now.
No, I can't talk like that.
I don't know. It is crazy hard.
It's crazy hard.
Because my lips are too far apart, but there are guys who can do it. Their lips are like this.
It's eerie.
Yeah, it's crazy,
know,
but
what-
it's
what are we
wonderful.
doing?
It is a wonderful talent.
know,
Is this anything?
I just love ventriloquists. They need to bring
he
them back.
brought it up in one of our IMO sessions, and I can't remember what context.
I said,
but it
in
was
my
just-
opinion,
Oh yeah, in our
the world where the world is missing ventriloquists.
and I was like, what?
No, I said
That is
ventriloquists
such a pull.
they're represented in
Yes,
comedy.
in
Absolutely.
comedy.
You're not wrong.
Is there a famous ventriloquist now? Who's the closest thing?
It's,
I don't know.
There's not one.
They were
No.
on America's Got Talent.
I'm
They would
sure.
have to be.
Yes.
That's where they show up. I think you have to watch America's Got
Yeah.
Talent.
Did you
One of
just
those.
watch the other night?
I did. I
So,
haven't
shout
seen
out
it this season.
Shout out to my friend Benjamin Hightower.
Oh,
who
yes, Ben, you were
crushed
great.
What did
America's-
he? What did he do?
So he's a veteran,
Uh-huh.
and he went on America's Got Talent, and he sang "Chaperone Pink Pony Club" on while playing the piano.
Oh my! I'm gonna
wow.
go
And got
YouTube
fourth.
that.
Oh, this is gonna make his life that you're gonna go watch it. But like, I'm telling you, like,
Did he get through?
He got
got
through
through,
with
got
flying
Nice.
colors, and it's going viral online.
Okay, I'm
and
gonna
Oh,
watch
He's
that.
great. We're proud
Oh my
of you, Ben.
gosh!
So proud of Ben.
Oh my gosh!
Anyways,
Can we
yeah.
just skip mine? You guys were
No,
so
this is the main
okay,
event.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
she's gonna slay it.
Of course
Yeah,
she is.
of course. All right.
This is Michelle Obama's I Don't Think So, Honey. Her time starts now.
I don't think so, honey. Segways.
Oh!
All right.
we're
First of
sorry.
all, they still have them here in Washington D.C. as part of the Monuments tour. I
Yes.
mean, look, they go so slow. It's just annoying that they go so slow. You just want to just get off and walk.
Yes!
Walk fast.
Yes.
You know, we are dealing with an obesity crisis in the world. world. We need people walking. And if you're on a motorized thing that doesn't move any faster than you walk, then I say, please take the helmet off because you don't need it on a Segway. And just walk a little bit. Walk fast. Walk slow. Oh my God.
Just walk 20 seconds.
And they're in the bike lane. Are they a bike? Because it's almost like you're walking in the bike lane. You should just be on the sidewalk. You don't need to be in the bike lane.
No.
With a Segway, you're not moving fast enough.
5
and I
seconds.
just say, please, Americans, get off the Segways, get rid of them, put your walking shoes on, and let's move.
That's 1 minute.
My God.
And there's a lot of drama about like who belongs in what, because it's like
right.
the bike lane has become a place where I see a lot of walkers, and this is a recipe for DISASTER.
Spell it.
You did it.
did.
You
Spell
did.
it right.
Disaster.
Exactly.
Let's spell. I don't know
Way to
why I spelled
go.
it, but I was moved to spell.
That's NYU.
Yeah,
That
that's
is- work it out.
Yeah, that's what
I went to
I'm a
college.
worse speller there.
I went to college.
I do hesitate to bring up what is the carbon footprint on those too.
I know,
I think about
right?
that with Segways.
It's
Surely
like
they're releasing something.
Something for nothing. It's
nothing.
like it's not getting you anywhere faster. So it's like, and I could go on about scooters too.
Yeah,
Not
the
for me.
electric ones.
The electric ones that, some of my staff ride without helmets. that
Linemen
I tell
around.
them,
No.
Yep.
And they're lit up in there now.
Yeah,
They got something to say.
Yeah, well,
They're
I'm
shaking their
just
fist.
glad that I don't drive anymore
Yes.
with the scooter madness, because who are you looking out for? The pedestrian, the biker, the scooter who's like they're on the sidewalk, they're off the sidewalk. Are you with us or not?
They're in the street too
They're in the
nowadays,
street.
in front of cars. It's dangerous.
Do you think if you got behind the wheel of a car now, you could still slay?
I drive.
Oh, you do drive.
Okay, great.
I drive in certain places.
Yeah.
I see.
Yes.
I see.
And I can still drive.
Okay, cool.
I have not been in the car with her driving.
Which, it doesn't count because you haven't seen it.
So you can't vouch for
I
the
cannot.
quality of the
I
driving?
cannot vouch. Usually, I can vouch for her, but I cannot vouch
all
for
my
the quality
agents,
of the
they
driving.
follow behind me. They know I can drive. I have not had an accident. I remember how to do it. It's like riding a bike.
Okay.
There you go.
I love it.
Okay.
You know what is kind of like, I've taken like 10-month breaks because I'll go to like New York for a while and then come back to LA and I get it and I'm like, okay.
Do I know
yeah,
this?
yeah.
And you know it. Once you know it, you know it.
I learned on a
That's it.
stick, and I'm like, do I know how to do that? That is
That
the
again,
thing
yeah.
that I kind of need
My
to.
first car was a stick.
I miss it. I kind
I
of liked
do.
the stick.
It makes you feel like you're really driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
It's
cranking
like,
something.
I'm engaged. I'm doing this.
I'm not
This car isn't
distracted.
moving without me.
Right.
See, everybody wishes they were a race car driver.
Ah.
And it all goes back to race car driving. He's a Formula One fanatic.
I am.
You
which
are.
I
I'm a
didn't
fan.
realize.
How are you feeling right now in this moment? It seems like it's really it's there's a groundswell.
I cannot wait to see the movie
too.
to see how
Yeah, the
how it
soundtrack
compares.
is banging, by the way.
Is it okay?
Yes, Tate McRae has a bop
we
from
are
it.
we are gonna go to the theater with all the sound around and surround sound and take the boys and get the popcorn. I'm
Maybe
really
that's
excited.
how we
but
get
I'm,
him to Broadway. That if Formula One goes on
Well,
Broadway, maybe you'll go see
When's
it.
the last Broadway show you saw?
We were talking about this at lunch.
that. I think
It's
it
bad.
was Romeo and Juliet, but it wasn't on Broadway.
It was.
Oh,
you-
the most recent.
So have you ever been to a Broadway?
I have, but I can't remember what I
That's
went to
Hamilton?
see.
crazy. You were not.
No, I saw Hamilton.
He's not my brother.
On,
I'm
I
sorry.
saw Hamilton not on Broadway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great. But you saw
Sheila
it.
Tour or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he didn't remember it. Like it didn't
No,
come
no.
to mind.
I think
He doesn't
we
know.
saw
He
The
doesn't
Lion
know.
King. I can't.
I
it's
think
it's
we
not
saw
my
The
thing.
Lion
It's
King.
just not
It's
my
so
thing.
funny.
That's okay.
I feel
Not
like
my
if
thing.
you did see The
He
Lion King, you'd
doesn't
remember.
know. It's
Yeah.
like, how do you not know if
'Cause
you
I don't
saw
go enough.
Broadway
I don't
It's
go.
because
show?
you do F1
And you know what? I saw Les Mis on the movie,
Shame.
and I enjoyed it.
There you
I
go.
enjoyed it.
publicly, so did we.
Like, there
Yes,
you go.
I
I said
enjoyed
we,
it.
we publicly really
I enjoyed
that.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna
And the
shame
music
you
was
into
just
I'm gonna
fine.
take you to some Broadway shows. You love Oh Mary.
I would.
You would.
And that
Oh, you
sounds
would.
hilarious.
Would
No, you
but
gotta go.
die.
But you guys have to understand. So I have 32-year-old and still have a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
And in between, I'm coaching teams where I have 15 other people's kids in my purview.
In your care,
Right,
yes.
right.
So
Boo, not an excuse. Boo.
I wanted him to play
No,
well for me, so
no.
I didn't take him to a Broadway show.
blah,
I
blah,
took
blah.
him to a baseball game, or I took him
More
bowling,
sports.
or I
More
took him
sports.
to a
There's more
concert.
crossover.
They go to
here.
New
A
York all the
concert.
time. You owe it to take
we don't
those
go to New
boys
York all the
to
time.
Broadway.
Oh,
You were just there.
No. I was not there. Kelly and the yeah, I guess I
You
was
did
there. We
just-
were
he
there.
doesn't
I'm
yeah.
trying to think
remember.
like what.
Me too. I'm trying to
You
think of
should
like
see Hell's Kitchen because
Yes.
Yes.
it's vouched
I should
for
see
by
all that.
all here. It's so good. And another thing
The
is
boys
like,
would love
They would.
it.
Our kids, we take our kids to see stuff in our area, but we just
Yeah.
haven't made a sojourn to Broadway.
Sure.
to see
You'll know a lot of the
Broadway
songs
shows.
too, obviously,
Yeah.
because it's Alicia. So it's
Yeah.
like that's another way in too. I think because it's like kind of controversial, the whole like jukebox musical thing, because
I love it.
but it is a way to bring people to
People
Broadway.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about what you guys were saying when you were talking about empty nesters and what you're going to do now. And once I finally get there in 5 years, not like I'm counting, but we'll do stuff like that.
Yeah.
We'll do stuff like
It'll
that.
be there.
It'll be there.
It's exciting to get to like my parents are traveling internationally for the first time
Oh, wow, yeah.
ever now in
Yeah.
this phase of their life. They're going to Greece in September and I'm just so excited for them, and it's just something that wouldn't have happened before, like,
Yeah.
because whatever, like financial concerns or time or whatever. So it's a real like gift to get that.
Yeah.
Any new experience opportunity.
I
Yeah.
think IMO is going to get you into a whole new world of culture, and
I'm looking forward to it.
okay.
I mean,
thank you for
so
thriving.
you guys are loving doing the podcast.
yeah.
Oh man, it's so much
So
fun.
good
You're
at
very
it.
good at it.
You know, I am. We were so close growing up,
Yeah.
and then work and all of the White House. It just
a great
took us apart. And now we get to be back together, kind of like we were before. Because when we are together, it's as if we are in the same bedroom, throwing the pillow over the top, and she's catching it and throwing it back to me.
You can feel that.
I can feel
You
it.
can feel that.
Oh yeah. Oh, you can feel it.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
And I mean, like I will say, before we wrap, I just want to say that we had such an incredible time on your podcast,
Oh,
and
thank
thank
you.
you
Love you
for.
having you
I mean,
guys.
just to even like be able to talk with you guys and get to know you is so special, and the fact that you'd welcome us onto your platform is. It's moving, emotional. It's so fun, and it's
Yeah.
all the things. And so, we just had the best time today.
Well, you guys are special. You
Yeah.
really are. Smart as all get out.
Funny.
Talented. The advice you give, the joy, the fun you're bringing into people's lives. We need it right now, and we couldn't be more proud of you both. And it has been an honor to spend this time with you, but it will not be the last time.
Yeah.
Listen.
We're podcasters.
Yes.
Now. We are a part of the podcast
We're
family.
in the podcast
We're in the same
community,
circles
and we're
now.
so
And we
You
need
guys
to-
are
we
the,
need
you guys
to
are the
check in.
experts, so we feel honored.
So silly that is
Well, we
true.
still have not fully talked about the Real Housewives. So
No.
we
No,
could
we've
do
got-
a
we've
whole
got
Well,
setup.
I'm
we
gonna.
may need to.
I'm gonna.
we should
I
do a whole
told Mish
tutorial
that.
for him.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's a good primer?
Yeah,
Like
you got to get.
Start with New York season 7 when Bethany comes back.
Oh my God!
And those are some
Okay,
words
that's-
for you to
That's
think about.
so clear.
Wow.
That's such
Very clear.
a clear directive.
It's because it's how I started, and I'm
Okay.
like, whenever people ask me how to get into Survivor, which we're also big
Love
Survivor
Survivor.
fans
Okay.
now, I have a syllabus,
okay.
and this is important and helpful. It's a tool.
It's
Yeah.
academic, really.
Yeah.
So
All right. That I was gonna start with the Rhode Island Housewives, but I'm gonna
Salt Lake
go
City.
Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City.
yes, we're giving you a lot of conflicting information.
Yeah, we're saying a lot of things.
That's okay. We can sum it up. We'll give them a memo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I follow directions well.
Yeah, okay, good.
We
You
like
guys
that.
are amazing.
Well, this
Thanks, guys.
is our joy, and you can listen to IMO wherever you get your
Wherever-
podcasts.
Wherever you get your podcast.
And we end every episode with a song. On my own, pretending he's beside me. This is Les Mis.
I know.
And to listen to the rest of Les Mis, you can stream the soundtrack, I guess.
I know.
Bye.
Las Culturistas is a production by Will Ferrell's Big Money Players and iHeartRadio podcasts.
Created and hosted by Matt Rogers and Bowen Yang. Executive produced by Anna Hosnier and Hans Sani.
Produced by Becca Ramos. Edited and mixed by Doug Babe and Monique Laborde.
And our music is by Henry Kapersky.